Kind of ironic that the power is out the day we start back on the Lotus EV.
I know what's wrong with it. It ain't got no gas in it.
Alright, so the power's back on, and yes, they did go out while we started working on the Lotus, but we're not going to show you any more of that Lotus because you've seen plenty, and we just don't want to show you anything until we get it a lot more farther along, maybe, you know, wheels turning, like we've said, I don't know how many times now. Anyways, lights came on, and all of a sudden we got 2 new cars in here, so we're going to kind of go into what our next projects are, which is this Viper again, and you know, our first 2 projects were a 96 Viper and a 77 Bronco about a year and a half ago. Well, you know, they're in here now, but different ones. The Viper was more, you know, won't go into details, but they hit a bump that wasn't their fault, and there's a claim out for it. So they didn't want to take it to any old body shop, so they knew that we had done almost identical work to our Bronco, or to our Viper, and, you know, that's what we're doing right now, kind of fixing it for a friend. You know, it's bittersweet having one of these in here because, you know, pulls the heartstrings. Remember that thing being here and me owning one, but we'll get another one soon. But just some basic stuff on that. But now the Bronco, I mean, it's been, you know, almost a year now since we've had that blue one in here. And this one is kind of similar, kind of not. As you can already tell, it's got the hard top. And, you know, they want to do a nice build, but they probably won't go with every bell and whistle like the last one had. So let's jump into it. All right, so like I said, there is a hard top. So there is a lot of rust on this that we've already inspected this at the owner's residence and kind of looked it over to kind of give them an idea of what we'd be looking at. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of metal work on this. You know, up there, do you guys see anything that I may have missed? This doesn't open.
Looks like the power steering pump sprung a leak at some point too, on the front side.
Is it? Oh boy.
Yeah.
Is that?
Looks like our TV.
Did they put it on the outside hoping it'd keep?
Yeah. Got another fuel pump on it.
Hey, there we go. We're gonna need some of those little straps here, which here they are right here. So, you know, we might see how these clean up, run through our washing machine. I don't know if my wife will appreciate that, but that's at the new shop. Washer dryer. So it does have some aftermarket seats in here, but it's not what they ultimately, oh, cockroach, or nope, that's a mud dauber. Check out that speaker. It's wired up still. It's just sitting on the center console, or if you want to call it the center hump. The center shifter looks like a Hurst shifter for like a manual or automatic, but that's actually your 4-wheel drive. You know, the glass, it's got some streaks in it, just from windshield wipers. This thing actually starts up decently well. 302. We're going to try to salvage it and, you know, use most of this, but make it look nice. So, you know, tune up stuff. So probably new gaskets, new plugs, wires, all that good stuff. You know, maybe get the carb rebuilt. It had some work done to it, but I'm not sure if it had been rebuilt or if it was just kind of fixed. You know, it does have the old style radiator, which is probably just...
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's had better days.
Mm-hmm. Had I known we were going to be doing another Bronco soon, I probably would have kept some of the parts we took off That looks like house wiring.
I've got some baling wire over here.
Yeah, because it's like cracking, and that usually means that it's interior house wire when it cracks. I've seen that when people use that kind of wire. It may still be stranded, but like a strand wire.
Yeah.
But it's meant for indoor use, and when it gets all this heat around it, especially right in front of a radiator, it'll start cracking.
Oh yeah.
The insulation will pretty bad. You know, really, for having one little power coming off of it for something, unless they pulled it all off,
It's just a ground.
being a Ford. Oh, yeah.
Would they ground directly to the battery? Oh, it's that ignition box guaranteed. It's got some exhaust work done.
Yeah, they did say new exhaust, the 2 tanks.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever be able to recover that portioning valve. It looks like it's never seen a drop of water in its life. It might have like half of an inch of gunk on it down there. But the other one wasn't too far off from that, the last Bronco we did. Why do they have 2? That's strange.
What?
They got, the radiator has an internal transmission cooler in it, but yet they brought it out to a forward remote cooler. That thing goes back, so it's like being dual cooled. I wonder if this wasn't keeping up, so they just added an external one.
I could see it struggling.
I mean, the other one did, and we...
Which, I mean, it looks like we're missing about 75% of the fan shroud.
Yeah, you're not going to suck much out. You're just going to blow air around. What have we done? No. This one actually isn't that bad. It looks worse. I think some people may look at it and, you know,
Come on, Joe, have you never
think
opened
it's
an old
pretty
car
bad.
door?
Nope.
But these really aren't too terrible. And I still don't get how some of these guys are getting 200 to 250K on some of these. I mean, I get it because I'm in the industry, but I also am like, they're making some pretty good money. Even if like this was just completely new metal. I mean, you can buy a whole body sometimes for these for like, 17 to 20K depending on how long you want to wait. But, a lot of guys want to keep that original. But I am excited about the hardtop.
Old O'Reilly's receipt, no date, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's all falling off.
Yeah.
That's the smallest little tack I've ever seen.
Oop. That's an insurance card. We're going to leave that there.
Yeah. There's a sunroof that I don't know if you can see. I'm sure we'll get some B-roll of it.
Would you like me to pop it open?
No, because I don't. I don't want to touch that thing until we're ready to work on it. But there's an aftermarket sunroof that got put in, so we're going to have to patch that in, which should be a fun patch. Matching, this roof line, which looks flat. Put a piece of flat metal on there. It's not. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to dig into this. I think it'll be, well, I know it'll be a cool product at the end, but I don't think it'll be too terrible as we start digging around.
They do not make them like that anymore. That's got some weight to her. She's real.
Yeah.
That's quality right there.
I think Joe could spend an hour making those look brand new. He's good at polishing. He was just polishing stuff on the Trans Am.
Oh yeah.
1176. 9 years later, I was born. Exactly. 9 years later.
I don't want to do that math on me.
Okay. We start on this next week.
Should be a fun little project.
When we get her sandblasted, we'll really know.
Oh yeah.
But we'll finish the Viper up, get it out of the way, be good to go. The last Bronco that we're in decent shape. Well, here's a problem I can already see. So there are brake flex lines right here coming off, which flex lines are really only used in the wheel area. So that way when you turn the front wheels and the suspension goes up and down, you got flex in the brake lines. Same with the rear. When you got that flex in the suspension, you know, you want movement in your brake lines. You don't put them right next to a header. And as you can see, these have gotten pretty hot. And yeah, these flex lines are still metal underneath because, you know, they do hold some pretty high pressure when you're using the brakes. But you still don't want to put, you know, them down there because as you lose protection, that metal that is in there is braided and it just loses its strength, and it will eventually, from that kind of heat, will break down as well. So, you know, just little things like that, whether it's just, you know, stuff people have fixed over the years. You know, we find that a lot with these old cars, to things we'll completely get rid of. You know, they wanted to get new MSD ignition, so we'll get rid of all this old ignition stuff, go to a new, more reliable ignition, just to make it run that much better, because, you know, the old ignition had multiple systems in place just to provide a good spark on a consistent, you know, timing loop. So it worked, obviously, but what'd you find there? Oh yeah, the crusty. I mean, these look like they've been under the ocean with the Titanic. Those look pretty rough.
Need a headlight.
Oh, yep, that one's completely broken.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, little things like that. And look at this. Get it out.
My dauber?
No. Ugh. When you've got a hole from rust, you just fill it with spray foam. Nothing wrong with it. You know, sometimes, I don't like to judge, and it sounds like I am, but I mean, a lot of this stuff is necessity stuff, you know. They realized a problem here and didn't want to spend the money, whoever did that. It works, you know, the flex lines here worked, not the safest. You know, I've even made mistakes not paying attention. On that Bronco, we had the throttle linkage over here, and I had some wires right under there. And while it's, you know, most likely never going to happen, if that wire with this loom especially, you know, being up under here, if it were to catch that throttle linkage, you know, it might catch the throttle wide open, and you don't want that when you're going down the road trying to hit the brakes. And, you know, good thing with that, it was one of those fuel injected intakes, and those have a built-in spring retractor, so you really, I mean, it was even hard for me to pull and turn on it just with my hand right here. So, you know, things like that I wired everything up, and I was like, oh crap, I didn't even pay attention to that, you know. So you find it on test drives, you find it after just walking away from these things for, you know, a bit. So again, I don't like judging things because I'm guarantee you, well, it's happened. Every post we've had, people have something to say about, well, why would you do that? I think somebody was upset. We were driving in the gravel with the Bronco, with the Bandit Trans Am in our video. Why are you driving that thing's on rock? That's smart. Like, I don't care, it's my car. So, or at least for a few more weeks. But, what do you think, guys? Ready to tear into this thing?
Yeah. Got a lot of good work ahead of us. Shouldn't be too bad, though.
We're hiring a body man. Yes. Austin's very sad because he doesn't get to do the majority of the body work.
All right. We're down a man, even though he said he was going to hire someone new. So I don't know what to do. What are we going to do now?
I have an idea.
Okay.
Okay, so we actually haven't been in the field a whole lot playing patty cake, just a little bit, but don't tell Tyler. While we haven't been doing that though, we've been in teardown mode. One of the cool things we've taken out of the dash so far is the cluster. And the cluster is really cool because it's one of the earliest examples I have seen of multiple gauges being built into one. I know it's probably not the earliest example, but it's one of the earliest I've seen. I do work on a lot more late model stuff, don't mind him. He's just hanging out. But the teardown's been going pretty well. This guy is nice and actually pretty good shape. But other parts of the vehicle have not been in the best of shape. We've got a little bit of rust poking through in different spots that I hadn't noticed before. Tyler probably did. But our next steps that we're going to go through is we're going to get the body off the frame, and then we're going to get the drivetrain out, and we're going to have our engine specialist come in and inspect the motor, make sure she's in tip-top shape, and go from there. Do you have anything to add on the old interior?
Honestly, this is all new for me, so I'm gonna probably learn a whole lot as far as what to do with rust and how to like properly treat it. That's like the biggest thing I'll probably learn from this whole thing. But it's all new, so I'm just learning every day.
This is a good one to learn on. It's a very simple vehicle. I say that, but Ford keeps a couple things up their sleeve for us. But yeah, next time you see her, she'll be a little further along.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Boom. Nailed it.